program at Glen Waverley Secondary College is very successful with over 500 students involved, each student participating in at least one of the 17 or so ensembles that rehearse weekly at the school. Highlights so far have included participating in the 2025 Anzac Day March, where they were awarded 4th Best Junior Band. They have also performed at their annual Autumn Gala and a handful of school events along the way. They will be performing 3 pieces for you today: Antarctos, May the Road Rise to Meet You, and A Stampede. Please make Glen Waverley Secondary College and their conductors feel very welcome. A big congratulations to our friends at Glen Waverley Secondary College. Give them another clap. So an important part of the Victorian School Music Festival is the part that you, the audience, are playing right now. Your job might seem like just to sit and wait for your performance, but it's the most important part, one of the most important parts of the whole experience for you to come and sit and listen and encourage your colleagues from different schools to perform their very best, and they will come and watch you and watch you perform your very best. Another big part of it is the workshop on
single minute of that. Did you have a good time performing? I just loved it. There's really, listen, so like I don't often get up here to say, hey, I already think you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You're listening for the right balances. Your pulse was good. I heard beautiful individual playing, beautiful clarinet solo. I'm a clarinetist. Beautiful clarinet solos, beautiful flute solos. Really fine playing. Okay, so anything I'm telling you today are just some ways that I might think about doing stuff a little differently, or a little more, a little less, whatever. Okay, but I think you're terrific. What would you think that you would need to work on? What's on your mind? Anything? Pitch, and that, I would say that in some of my ensembles too. So that's like a no-brainer answer, which is a good one. Okay, is things that, like, we always have that. So I heard a couple throat tone things, clarinet, sorry. So there were some little moments in there when we're decrescendoing, like particularly in the front row on the high woodwind. So if the flute's decrescendo, you tend to go what? Flat. And if the clarinet's decrescendo, you tend to go sharp, right? And we often have things together. So we had some of those sorts of things just a little bit throughout, which is fine. Yes? A little bit of balance. And when we talk about balance, to me, sometimes those things, it was pretty good. It was actually pretty good. So, but the things that I talk about in balance, there's like several layers of the word balance to me. It can either be in a section, okay? So like, how many saxophones do we have? Like a lot, right? There's like an army of saxophones. Yes? Okay, so out there, I kept saying saxophone's a little less, saxophone's a little less, saxophone's a little less. And you were playing great, and you were playing what was on the page. Okay? So here we have like a whole bunch, like a whole row of saxophones, which are amazing. Like, usually you have 4, and you have like 14. Okay? Which is great. But because of that, it's not really fair to you. You guys have to take almost all your dynamics down. Okay? So if your part says crescendo to forte, you can't do that. And you want to, because it's exciting. And so there were times where your color, I think of all of you as color. You're like sonic pink. Okay? I think all of these things as color when you come in. So when you guys came in with on that fast piece, it was really, really hot. Okay? So some of that wasn't because you were playing poorly, it's just because with that many people, you really have to work to bring that down. People in instruments that are lower, if you're playing a lower voice, you're the ones that need to be heard, because everybody should be listening back to the lowest voices. So the balance has so many elements to it. Okay, so you have not only that where you're balancing your sections, the other part of balancing is making sure that at all times you can hear the melody. And when you have the melody, do you know who you have it with at all times? Do you know if, like, I don't have the melody here, but I've got harmonic support? How is the melody shaping their music? That's more sophisticated. How is the melody shaping their music? Because I should do that to help support them. Yeah? Wow, I have this cool counter melody in the horns. How do I do that? Where does that go? You know what I mean? So knowing, I call it knowing your role, knowing whether you have the melody, whether you have the accompaniment, whether the harmonic support, whether it's just rhythmic drive, whether the mallets have part of the melody. All these things change throughout the course of a piece, yeah? Okay? So that's one part of balance if you were saying that you would work on. I would say yes, but you can always work on it, but those are the sorts of questions I'm asking myself as a player inside the group. Does that make sense? Okay. Is fast music or slow music harder? Slow music, every day of the week. Okay? Because it takes more control. It takes, you hear things, that events, phrases take longer, you know? And I want to work on that one with you just a little bit. Because it already sounds beautiful. You're doing great things. And pretty much the things that I'm going to work with you on are just doing more of the things that you're already doing great. Okay? So I've talked to like a ton. My thing Some people hear notes and rhythms first. You've already got all that. Some people hear balance first. I hear line. And you're a band that can understand what that means. When we talk about line or phrasing, I listen for where you're going. Where does everything go? And that's the thing to me that makes music expressive. It's not just 5 dynamic levels. We have more than that, right? We have more than that. It's like if you're given a box of 8 crayons when you're little, there's more colors than that. Make sense? And so what we learn to do is how to shape all that music without them telling us what to do, but we do this because we're good musicians. You can hear where that's going to go. So the clarinet solo at the beginning, ya-da-dee, la-da-dee, right? And he's already doing that. So it starts from the beginning and it goes all the way up to there, and then where does it go to finish? And we do that on one big arc of air. Does that make sense? They give you a few little hints in this piece because they give you a little ornament on notes, and I always think of go to the things that are special, or go to the top of the phrase just a little bit. It's the only thing we have. We have our way to shape our sounds so that it's expressive. So it's beyond just 5 dynamic markings. Make sense? So I always learned a couple rules, and I've talked about them just as a sort of a shortcut to give you some things to think about, like how do you know what to do? How do you know where to go? I can hear it, but what do you think about it? It's the first thing you do is you look at your music and think, wow, where do my harmonies go to? They go from here to here. Usually it's in 4-bar phrases, 8-bar phrases, usually. But how does it work? When notes go down, crescendo. When notes go down, give a small crescendo. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you will be correct. That could be whole notes, doing a long thing. It could be ya-da-da-da-dee. Could be that. Could be fast or slow. But when your notes go down, crescendo. If you have a tie across the bar, crescendo across the bar, because usually you're creating a suspension and then you're resolving on beat 2. They're just little things. Sometimes it's not right, but usually they're just little cheater ways to help you think about where to go. Does that make sense? Inside a phrase, when you're shaping phrases, think of big shapes. Think of big shapes. So you're not making too many micro shapes on the inside. Look for where the top goes, where you come down. If you're entering into a sound, who do I enter with? You know, I said I think of you like sonic paint. So if I had a bucket of paint, and you have a color, and you come in, you just change and enrich in the color, particularly in a piece like that. It doesn't come out like striped paint. You know what I mean? So if we had a trumpet, it's not like a stripe, it's just richer. And who you join in with saxophones, how do you color? Are you a color instrument? How do you color the brass? Does that make sense? So those are a little bit more sophisticated things to think about, aren't they? They're a little bit different things to think about. Let's do the beginning of this May the Road Rise to Meet You. And you guys are already great. You know how this goes. I want you to take a look at your phrases here. And if you have inside voices, second, third clarinet, inside voices, I want you to play a little stronger than your friends in the first part. If you have moving notes, I want you to crescendo a little bit through all that music. If it's too much, we can change it, not a big deal. But let's see if we can get a little bit more shape from everybody inside the group. Do you want to try it? See what it sounds like? We'll just give it a whirl. Here we go, right at the beginning. What is your name? Say it one time. Leo? You sounded beautiful. You're welcome. Here we go. We're going to let him start. Does everybody agree that where the phrase goes is to the last bar? Can you hear it going to the last bar and the chord? And when we get to that chord, allow your ears to immediately settle in to what that's supposed to sound like. So you aren't just going, oh, I'm playing piano and I'm going on. The third bar is the one with the most throat tones, so we'll have to bring them down just a little bit. Okay, one more time, that was great. If you have a half note, it grows. If you have a whole note, it grows a little. Okay, so shape even the long notes. Here we go. Beautiful Leo, 2, 3. Yeah, play that whole note right there really carefully. Ready? And... Oh, if you have this note, really listen for la do on 412. Ready? Play that note. Yeah, so some of those octaves there in the anti-clarinet and the flutes, but better. But make sure that you have a landing point that you're good. Get your ear ready for, so that we don't just sit on it and let it be friction. Listen to it right before. So beautiful. 3 before 12. Piccolo flute. Can you guys give me a little bit more shape on the 8 notes? Let me just see what you're going to do with it. Here's 3 before 12. 3 before 12. We'll just go ahead and start on 1. Stopping you before you have that big moment. Did you guys notice in bar 15, alto saxophone 1, clarinet 2 and 3, where you have a stretch on 1 and then you move on beat 2? Can you put a tenuto on beat 1? Saxophones, you can crescendo a little bit to beat 2. That's where we get a lot of real beauty there. Let's try it once. So we're going to go for that. I'll try and help you there, but you're going to go to that beat. Here's 12. Although make sure you keep going, la ya dum bum beauty. Okay, here we go. Ready? And nice and keep going now. Go, 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 go. We're so done. That was so good. Did you guys hear a difference a little bit? Yes, I thought it was brilliant. I thought you sounded really good. I'm sorry that we have to stop because I was having fun. Beautiful job. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.